everybody. Welcome to Cinemachine. How's it going? We are here tonight with Brandon. How you doing, Brandon?
There is a bomb in Centennial Park. You have 30 minutes.
It's a terrible thing to say. And Ryan, how are you tonight?
I can't possibly top that.
I don't think.
But I'm doing good.
I wouldn't see that as a topper. But so anyway, well, we're here for our second episode. We're super excited. We had a great response to our first episode. So thank you, everybody that tuned in to our first episode. It's only going to get better from here. We're
Jinx.
We're trying. We got a focus group ready. It's mostly 5-year-olds, but still. But yeah, this week we have some good news. We can be found in many more places this week because we're considered a real podcast now. So, Ryan, you want to tell everybody where they can find us?
Yeah. So we've got a website now, cinemachinepod.com. And you can also find us on all the regular social channels, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at CinemachinePod. And we love chatting with you guys on there, so hit us up.
Yeah, and if you actually stay tuned to the end of this episode, we're going to actually interact to where you guys get to kind of program our show a little bit. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of this because then you're going to have to go on Twitter and you actually get to tell us what we're going to watch. So we give you a choice. So there you go. Well, guys, how have your weeks been? I know that Brandon, your family is getting ramped up for school and things of that nature with little Luna.
Yeah.
So,
school, work, living, just living, you know.
All right. So Matthew McConaughey's on the cast now. So
all right.
So Ryan, how's everything out in your neck of the woods?
Good. Me and my wife Katie, we went to the lake this weekend and got some time outside, and it was great.
Yeah.
Brandon,
Cool.
was actually there.
Oh, Brandon was? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there.
You'll be invited next time out. Don't worry.
No, I don't. They don't have SPF 100
okay.
anywhere any longer. So I'm having to put SPF on just for these lights for tonight. So no, it's.
You could have stayed inside with the dog.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm a good dog. No.
Yeah, Brandon, you need to send him a. We'll post it on social. You need to send him a picture of our friend's dog. He looks like what's the Sesame Street character?
Snuffleupagus.
Yeah, I'm blanking right now.
Snuffleupagus.
Jeff always calls him not the Cookie Monster. Who's the other one? The teeth.
With the teeth?
Yeah.
Not Elmo.
Bottom teeth showing.
Bottom teeth showing. I don't know. I don't know who you're talking about.
Anyways, we'll
The
post
big
it on
one?
social.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Fancy.
Actually, Brandon. Yeah.
So
Brandon did actually already.
Jim Henson's company's now breeding dogs, from what I understand. So that's good. It's good. Well,
Good.
yeah.
Great. How was your week, Al?
It was good. Just livin and man, you know what I'm saying? No, having a good week. Just getting ramped up for this. Making sure I watch enough stuff so that we can report to the folks. So let's go ahead and start doing that. Let's talk about what we've been watching lately. So tonight I'm going to start with Brandon. Brandon,
Ooh.
what have you directed?
I went first last time. That's cool, though. I like going first.
Well, what have you directed your attention to this week?
Not too much this week. Still watching Eastbound and Down, which I have to issue, I guess, a correction from last week. So I was called out by my wife
Good.
a couple days ago.
We got a couple notes we could
Apparently, we said that Danny McBride was he was from North Carolina and went to school in Statesboro. It's actually the opposite. He's from Statesboro, went to school in North Carolina. So for anybody that we offended, especially Mr. McBride, we apologize.
Sorry.
We got
Sorry.
a lot of angry tweets this week about that, Brandon.
Yes.
A
Yeah.
lot of them.
Lots, I'm
And
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna report it right now. I honestly don't care if you're upset.
Okay, well, I care. Okay, I care.
We make
So-
mistakes.
Just wanted to get that out of the way. So yeah, still watching that. But other than that, we watched the fourth Harry Potter movie with Luna, the Goblet of
It's
Fire.
a good one.
I honestly haven't watched the last, I guess, 4 Harry Potter movies. I've seen them maybe once since I got them on Blu-ray, like, whenever they came out,
Yeah.
however long ago that was. I've seen the first 2 or 3 like many times because the first 2 especially are kind of the more kid-appropriate ones. So once
They definitely get
Luna started watching
scary.
movies, they do. So that's kind of been a little bit of the reasoning why we haven't kind of shown Luna anything past the third one, which the third one gets kind of scary too. But
You should've
Yeah,
not
so
a
we
fan
watched
when I
that.
brought up Voldemort this weekend.
nope, not a fan of Voldemort. But yeah, it was good watching that again. I honestly I remembered like Robert Pattinson being in it. I remembered Mad Eye Moody and everything else. I was like, man, I mean, I remember the tournament, obviously, but it was like watching it again for the first time almost because I had forgotten so much.
Mm.
But it was good. I mean, I think it's David Yates' first Potter film that he did. And it's not as strong as his later ones, and you can tell. And it almost feels like, I don't read the books, but it feels very quick. It's very like compact, if that makes any sense. Like you can tell that they're just trying to pack in as much from the book as they could.
It's like a abridged version.
Yeah, I mean, the pacing is like kind of it's not as tight as, say, the Alfonso Cuarón, the Prisoner of Azkaban. But still solid, and dragons, they're cool, so into that. But Luna was very affected by the spoilers, the death of Cedric at the end. So and then the Voldemort stuff, Voldemort like being reincarnated in a human form, like completely in this one. Pretty scary stuff.
Yeah.
But that was good. So yeah, did that. That was honestly, besides our review later, we'll get to it, but that's really all I had time to watch this week.
And
so.
I'll
Any
say-
nightmares from Luna yet?
Yeah.
What's that?
Any nightmares?
Oh, we have nightmares every night.
So isn't
But-
Luna named after?
You know,
Is she named after?
Yeah.
So she's named after the
Luna.
Harry Potter character.
Luna Lovegood,
Yeah.
Luna Bell. So Luna Lovegood and Belle from Beauty and the Beast. So she's got a little bit of a mix going on there.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
suggest anybody that gets a chance. I was really blessed to be able to go last year over to it's not in London, but it's right outside of London. I went to the Warner Brothers studios over there and did the Harry Potter's where they actually filmed the movies and whatnot, and
Yeah.
went on the sets and everything, and it was a really cool experience. Bunch of nutcases over there, but it was fun and whatnot. And then I got stranded in the middle of nowhere because I didn't have cash.
Katie and I did that a couple years ago.
It's fun. Oh, so yeah, it's really cool over there, isn't it?
Yep.
And
Awesome.
that one part where you're in the bank and the dragon comes in, and that
Yeah.
was pretty realistic. So anyway, it was fun. So if
They have the Privet Drive there too, don't they? Like
Yeah.
the-
Yeah. Well, they've got the also the train station.
yeah,
Cool. While you walk through the train.
yeah,
Yeah, we're kind of debating since like Universal is like operating at much lower capacity right now. We're considering maybe booking a Universal trip and hitting up the Wizarding World while it's not going to be super crowded.
Yeah.
But
Now would
we'll
be
see
the
how
time.
that goes. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that'd be fun. Well, yeah, awesome. It's a good series. I read the books. I really enjoyed the books. I found Harry Potter
Humble brag.
quite by accident. I was
Some of us aren't able to do that.
Aren't able to read? You can't read?
Never learned to read.
Ooh, this is a problem.
All right. So everybody, please help Brandon.
Actually, Brandon, I read the books too.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. I walked into a Barnes and Noble. This is, years ago. I think the third book was coming out, and I still didn't know anything about Harry Potter. I wasn't in the know, and it was the second or third book. I can't remember. But I walked in at like 10 o'clock at night or something like that with a friend, and I was like, why are there so many kids here? Like, nobody stands in line for movie tickets for concert tickets anymore. Like, what's going on? What's happening? And I see them all like in their garb, like the wizard capes and the witch hats and all that stuff. And they're all like on the floor lining the building inside, and it's hundreds of them. And they're reading the books and everything. And they're like, the Harry Potter book's coming out. And I'm like, what's Harry Potter? And this kid went on and on and on about Harry Potter. I was like, all right, fine. So about 2 weeks later, when the book was finally available again, I just grabbed the books and started reading, and then I got hooked and read from that point on. So we'll move on. So Ryan, what caught your attention this week?
So I'm kind of like Brandon. I just had one other than the review we've got this week. But after you guys kind of talked about it in the podcast, the last podcast, I watched Jojo Rabbit for a second time, and
what is it?
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit.
If
you're unfamiliar with it, I invite you to check out the first episode.
We'll link that
of our
episode
podcast.
in this episode. It might be right next to this episode, but still, you're fine. We'll link it.
But no, it was a great second viewing. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't catch the first time. Like we talked about her red shoes. There were a couple other instances where they kind of featured those that I'd forgotten about, and obviously it's a pretty quotable movie, so the more I see it, I feel like the more I'll be able to rattle off.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
it's a good rewatch.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it.
We did say to buy it last week. We did suggest that you buy it last week, so
yeah,
proof's in
indeed.
the pudding.
Hope everyone did that, and I hope we get those little Amazon kickback rewards coming to us.
Yeah,
right.
as soon as we sign up for that affiliate link. So I did watch two things. I'm not going to talk in length about one of them because it's kind of hard. One is a documentary that I really highly suggest.
It's probably for the best.
No, it's great. The Beastie Boys story on Apple TV. It is probably the only thing worth watching on Apple TV, in my opinion. I have had it for a full year. Have not watched anything except for this.
Same. Well, I haven't watched that either. But
yeah, but they're still growing, but they should have known better. Anyway, the documentary is really good. It's done in a different format than any other music doc or anything that I've ever seen. It's a stage show that they did for a few days in New York, and of course MCA's not there because he passed away a few years ago. And then, but it is Mike D and Ad Rock, and they're on stage telling the whole story. And it's kind of cool to see where they came from, the ups and downs of what we might not recognize. Now, I am one of the lucky people and that can say I did see the Beastie Boys in concert, and it was fantastic back in the day. One of the best shows I've ever been to. I remember Rancid opened up for them, and they were their own roadies, so that's it was really funny to see. But the Beastie Boys were fantastic, and they seem like they're pretty authentic guys. They always have. And I bet it's a really good documentary. So just be warned that as soon as you watch it, you're going to want to listen to the Beastie Boys ad nauseum, like I do all the time anyway. So it's really good.
What's it called?
Beastie Boys Story.
Beastie Boys Story.
Yeah.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah, it's really good. So even if you don't like the Beastie Boys, I highly suggest you watch this because just the way they went about making music and things of that nature, it's very inspirational.
I definitely want to check it out. I like them on a surface level, but I like music documentaries, so
Yeah, no, it's
interested in
and
checking
Spike
it out.
Jonze directed it. So Spike Jonze is
Doesn't one of the Beastie Boys, isn't he a director? I don't know which one.
MCA.
Is
So
it
he was
Okay.
yeah. So he had an alias that he went under. I think
Or-
Nathaniel Hornblower or something like that.
Maybe I'm thinking about, no, I think I'm thinking about one that was like he acted in a movie pretty recently.
Oh, that's Ad Rock.
with,
He was in
Okay.
While We're Young,
yep.
and he's
that's
also married to a punk rock chick. You know, she's. I won't. You go figure it out yourself. I won't tell you everything. But anyway, I knew. Like that's the thing. I knew like I would say 75% of the stuff because I am an avid Beastie Boys fan. But I watched this with a friend of mine that had already seen this, and he was like, "You're never gonna figure out all this stuff, man. Like you're not." I'm like, I knew, and I was like saying it before it happened. He was like, "How do you know this stuff?" I'm like, "I'm a nerd, man. I love music." So. Yeah, it's really good. The second thing that I watched is an oldie but a goodie. It's one of the original Tom Hanks movies, Joe versus the Volcano. This movie holds up. It is very good. It's a story about Joe finds out that he has what they call a brain cloud. it's the dumbest thing. So he has a brain cloud, and he's only got like 5 months to live. So he's stuck in an office, and he's, just going by the rules and everything. And there's a lot of symbolism in this movie, but he decides, all right, I'm not going to stay at this job. I'm going to go out, and somebody offers him to go out and jump in a volcano to sacrifice himself, since he's going to die anyway, to sacrifice himself for this businessman's his business. He's a real rich guy. So Meg Ryan's in it. I love Meg Ryan. She plays like 4 different roles. She plays 3 different roles in this movie, and she's real quirky and stuff. And it's really hard to think back on Meg Ryan and not think about the other Tom Hanks movies that she's in and things of that nature. But she is I think she's to be celebrated in her own right because she's so quirky and everything. But this movie is so quirky. It almost feels like a Tim Burton movie, like back in the day, Tim Burton. But there's a lot of symbolism in here. And it really... You could actually have a double feature with this and Office Space if you really never wanted to go to work again. So I highly suggest everybody watch Joe versus the Volcano. I don't want to give away too much, but I will say this. I am definitely going to buy it if they put out a special edition. Right now they just have like a regular Blu-ray without really any features. I would like to see this come out on Criterion, but that's just me. So,
Did you? Is that the way you watched it, Blu-ray, or did you stream it on something?
I streamed it on Stars. I believe it was Star. Yeah, it was Stars that I streamed it on, and I genuinely laughed. Now I did notice after the movie that somebody has uploaded the entire movie to YouTube, so I don't know what the quality is. I'm sure it's not great. But, you can see some of the seams of this movie because it is older. There's not a whole lot of special effects, but you can see a few of the seams here and there. To where, you can, like, there's a shot of the moon really close, and Tom Hanks is standing right in front of the moon, like the moon takes up the whole screen. And you can kind of see the chroma key, like, edges and things like that. So it is what it is. It's just, but it's a really good story. Really good performances. A lot of the background actors, character actors, and things like that. You'll notice a lot of them. And I would like, tell us on Twitter what you think about the things that we've been watching. If you watch them, if you agree with us or don't agree with us, because this is supposed to be a conversation. We're just starting the conversation. So, anyway, that's what we've been watching. We'll be right back. Brandon's gonna tell us some news. All right, we are back with Brandon, who has some news for us. Brandon, please inform us of what you've learned.
This is the news you need to know for this week. It's not a lot.
Oh, God.
Not a lot that's like earth-shattering, I'll say that.
All that matters.
But
is true.
as far, I mean, who's to say? Who is to say? Tenet tickets are on sale, guys.
What?
Tenet tickets are on sale.
Are they going to keep the date?
In the UK.
Yeah.
In the UK, not here.
Oh.
So yeah, Tenet is opening. Let's see, in the UK, I believe it's opening on. It's opening in 70 cinemas.
2 people per cinema.
Probably. It's
So
like,
have you guys
I think-
gotten your plane tickets yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so August 26th opens in the UK. I'm not exactly sure. I know that it's doing basically an international release before the US release. But yeah, I guess it's progress, right? I mean, there's actually some theaters that are going to be showing it. That's good.
I'll believe it when I see it. That's what I'll say about that.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure they're finished with the movie. I think they just shot a trailer.
Yeah, very expensive trailer.
Yeah.
No, it opens here, I think, September 3rd.
Yeah, I wish all these
Yeah.
movies would just, instead of picking arbitrary release dates, they would just say coming soon, so that you're not like let down every 3 weeks.
Well, they could do it like.
Coming tentatively,
Oh,
Right.
boy.
Right?
Oh, boy.
right?
Yeah.
I saw what you did there.
Okay.
They could do that thing where musicians just drop an album, like they don't tell people that they're gonna put an album out, and they just put it out.
T Swift style.
Oh
Well,
my gosh!
I have a feeling that if any movie is going to come out theatrically versus digital, it's going to be this one.
Unhinged is coming
If
out.
this is true, but
Bill and Ted.
But yeah, I feel like Nolan, he's going to stick to his guns. He's very much a pusher for the theatrical experience.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
hopefully it comes out as it would have already been out by now, as would a lot of things. But I think that if there was ever a movie to bring people back to theaters, that this would be probably the best of the ones that are on the horizon.
I agree. I think you'll still have people like I honestly think this will, once it's in theaters, I think it'll stay for quite some time, pending nobody, there's not like any craziness.
There's no reason to
They're
not.
not going to have any competition.
Right.
I mean, what it's going to look like, I imagine, is, you think about like the cinema here has 12 theaters.
Right.
I imagine that
8
at
of
least
them.
10 of those
Yeah.
will be Tenet, because they'll have to have multiple showings. Obviously, 6 or 7 showings a day, depending on how long it is. It's probably pretty long. I haven't looked to see what the runtime is, and then if they can only have 30% capacity per theater, if that's what it ends up being, it's like, well,
Yeah.
you gotta like have as many. It's gonna be playing like every 15 minutes, but
Believe it when I see
we'll
it.
see.
Still have my
believe it when I see it
Indeed.
too. But
No Time to Die movie poster that says April 2020 up.
nice.
Just
Yeah.
hanging on.
So Al, I know that is Bill and Ted. It's opening
this weekend.
What
right?
in a few weeks? Is it this
I think it's
weekend?
this weekend.
Is anywhere around here playing it? Do you know? If you looked.
Every time I tune into the movie theaters, only a couple here and there, and they're nowhere near where I am. So, I am eager to see that, but yeah, I don't know. I'm wanting to see that in the theater. I'm sorry, August 27th is what it's saying now, but
Okay.
we'll see. They've pushed that one not as much as
Didn't they?
Tenet.
Didn't they announce ticket sales for New Mutants?
Yeah, I
Also?
think it's open in 2 weeks. So it's probably today's the 18th. So it may be beginning of. Well, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I heard today that it was 2 weeks from now that it was coming out, but I don't know. Somebody can fact check us. Any interest in seeing that?
New
for
Mutants.
free on streaming.
I would love to see it at home for sure. I'm not going to go out to the theater to see
I
it.
don't want to see.
You know, I mean,
That movie's cursed.
it definitely is.
It's never a good sign when your movie has that much red tape and that many back and forths and stuff like that, right?
No.
No, I mean, it did get caught up in a lot of Fox getting bought out
Politics.
and pushing things, and
And it'll never come out
Not
on
really knowing
Blu-ray.
what
We
to-
learned last week. So I mean, that's just like according to Brandon. Yeah. So
yeah.
well, Brandon,
anyway,
thanks for telling us the news this week.
sure. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it comes out. We'll see.
Yeah. So, if you have any news,
The next thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I do. I'm getting to
Oh
it.
my
All right.
gosh.
The next thing is you'll appreciate this, Al. Well, you probably won't. Actually, I know you won't. The next
You
thing.
went downhill so quickly.
Well,
There are
you're
a
gonna
few things that
appreciate.
Al appreciates.
You're gonna appreciate the first part of this.
Okay.
But it's what follows
Oh
it.
jeez.
You know the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Don't tell me they're remaking it.
Well, they are.
Oh,
They're remaking it with Will Smith and Kevin Hart.
stupid. It's done.
So
No.
that got announced today.
Both people are bad. It's Will Smith.
And I know
Look, he's already vibrating over there
Nope.
in anger.
I know how big of a Steve Martin fan. I'm sure you're a big fan of John Candy as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that movie had heart. What they're gonna do, not Kevin Hart. It had actual heart. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna make it like fart jokes, and I'm guessing Melissa McCarthy will fall down in it. She'll probably make an appearance or something. So yeah, that movie's nearly perfect. So no.
Yeah, Brandon was actually about to say that Melissa McCarthy is going to be guest starring in that movie as well.
Mhm. She's actually playing the role of
Is she really
Steve
in it?
Martin's character.
I was about to say what?
Not yet.
Just ruin
Not yet.
ruin things.
Give it time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, whatever. I'm not mad about it. It's just not gonna work, is what I'm saying. Because that movie, the chemistry, everything was nearly perfect in that movie. The script, plus it's John Hughes. You don't really improve upon John Hughes. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like the trifecta of awesome.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll see.
I don't know that we will. Don't.
Anyway, so that's that. I just brought that up because I knew it'd piss you off. So there you go.
It doesn't make me mad. It just.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and we'll move on to the next one. Speaking of remakes or sequels, I don't know what this is actually considered, but the new Space Jam got a little sneak peek at the uniforms.
Who's in that?
And I think
LeBron?
LeBron James.
Anything
and
with LeBron James, and I'm out.
if you just want to do a
I'm right
quick
there with
little
you.
Google search of Space Jam 2, probably you'll find the little video that he put out. Looks like they're sponsored by Tide for this
Oh
season.
boy.
So
Ooh, those are ugly.
that's cool.
Those are really ugly.
But yeah,
You wanna
I'm a
see
big
something
Space Jam
good
fan. I
basketball
loved-
related, then go watch The Last Dance and skip Space Jam 2.
yeah, or just watch Space Jam 1. It's great. I love it. I mean, it may not
Right.
hold up if you're watching it as an adult and never seen the original, but if you like Looney Tunes and you like basketball, you like Bill Murray.
I mean,
It's
Um,
yeah.
it's nostalgia, right, Al?
I
It
don't know.
might
I mean,
be.
people really like
I
it.
don't know. I watched it
I never
a few
was a
times
fan of it.
recently.
It just never
Uh,
appealed to me. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I'm just saying it just never appealed to me. I'm just not a basketball guy. But I understand why it. Yeah,
Yeah, it hit me at a perfect age.
Oh,
I
it's
understand why
totally a
people like
nostalgia
it.
movie for
I
me.
do.
Yeah, it
because I
makes the
mean,
same
you had
thing
the
as you, Brandon.
greatest
I just-
athlete maybe of all time, as a professional athlete of all time, maybe. So, anyway, and you had Looney Tunes. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I get it.
the part in that Last Dance doc when they talk about Space Jam is pretty cool as well.
Mhm.
Just talking about how they basically just filmed it in the off season. Like it was just they didn't really know what they were doing,
Yeah.
and they were kind of. And I listened to an interview with one of the artists that worked on it, and he was like, "Man, we were just like we had no idea what we were doing, but luckily it came together somehow. And you can kind of like in some places when you watch it, you can see like some of the little wonky things that you know,
things tend to work
that
out
are in
for
there,
Michael
but
Jordan.
Yeah,
He's a winner.
I just wonder about like I know that HBO Max did a new Looney Tunes show. But I just don't know if kids today are that familiar with
so
Looney
much,
Tunes characters because they
like Elmer Fudd's no longer using a gun, things of that nature. So I mean, that's just one example. But they've watered it down, so it's. And the best part about Looney Tunes was
they took it good.
Well, yeah, also there's just so much more available now too.
Yeah,
like,
Looney Tunes was awesome though. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the original Looney Tunes for sure. That and the Animaniacs. Do you guys remember the Animaniacs?
Oh yeah. Whenever I see
theme
the
songs
WB
in everybody's
tower, I
head
still
now.
just think of
You're welcome.
Animaniacs.
Yeah. Same.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm not worried about.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll be surprised if half the movies that are being quasi greenlit right now are even really not on the chopping block pretty soon because the movie industry's taken such a hit with all of this. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah, indeed we will. The only other two things that I had on there was there were some pretty cool trailers that released this week.
Pretty good.
The
cast.
Devil All the Time
cast.
Release is a Netflix original. Tom Holland.
Brandon's favorite.
Good cast.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson. And then the Raised by Wolves.
I'm excited. About
Raised by Wolves trailer.
Devil All the Time thing. Obviously Netflix, in my opinion, doesn't have a great track record with movies, but
I think we should do a
can't
whole
really
hit or miss.
episode
I'm more excited
on
about with
our Netflix movies, real movies. Seriously.
That would be cool. Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, I agree.
Is
I mean,
on,
that's
it's going
true.
to
You
become
did
a
send that to me,
Criterion,
yeah.
so
Yeah. So yeah, Devil All the Time. I don't know when that's releasing. They may have not have put a release date on the trailer. I don't see it. But yeah, and then the other one was the Raised by Wolves.
The Devil All the Time
which
releases
is
September
Ridley Scott
16th.
joint.
So
Okay.
quit.
that's called news.
It had a it had like a there you go.
Yeah.
It had
Tom
kind of
Hardy.
a lawless feel. Do y'all remember that movie?
Shaboof.
Reminded me a lot of that. Yeah, Tom Hardy, Shia LaBeouf, and I think what's his name?
Let's just not know, man.
What's the guy? No, he.
Al, did I ever tell you that story about? They
Okay.
shot Lawless down where I lived in Peachtree City, and I went to the gym one day, and Shia LaBeouf was working out in the gym.
Oh.
He was wearing skinny jeans, and he had a handkerchief in his back pocket. And his
Who
hair
doesn't work
greased
out
slicked
that way?
back, and he was working out.
Yeah. I mean,
Like you do.
Who doesn't do that, right?
Like you do. Jason Clark.
yeah.
Jason Clark
Yeah,
is.
I remember seeing Lawless
He's in
the
Lawless.
theater.
But he's also in this.
And there was one scene, and there was an old lady in a rocking chair. And I'm telling you, it's like a quarter of a second scene. There's nothing funny about it, but something about it just gave me the giggles, and I had to leave the theater for like 5 minutes to gather myself so I didn't become the jerk in the movie theater. It was just laughing for no reason. Oh, my gosh. Luckily, I was sitting closer to the door than I usually would. But, oh, my gosh, it was... Oh, I'm almost getting the giggles thinking about it now. So, anyway. Well, Brandon, is that all the news you got?
Yeah. Well, I also mentioned Raised by Wolves, Ridley Scott's thing. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that. I thought it looked awesome.
No,
Ridley
it
Scott.
does look cool.
That's coming to HBO Max.
I think Ridley Scott needs to prove
Prometheus
himself to a
vibes
lot of
little
people
bit, which
again.
Yeah.
I love that movie. So
I think I've heard a little bit of buzz so far. I think they've already released screeners to like bloggers and such, and
All right.
So far, seems like it's pretty promising. Hopefully, that's the case. We'll see.
Good.
We're
Hang
not
on,
popular
Ryan and
enough
I got
to
a
get those
screener.
screeners, but hey, if you want to give them to
So,
us,
anyway, we'll be back, right? No. No, we're getting there. We're getting there. So, all right. Well, thanks, Brandon, for the news. All right, we are back, and we are going to talk about Richard Jewell this week. Richard Jewell is a Clint Eastwood joint, something nobody's ever said before. And it was released December 13th, 2019, had a budget of $45 million and only made $43.7 million. This is the story of the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta, where security guard Richard Jewell was a hero for a brief moment and then turned into the sole object of the FBI's attention. So we all watched it this week, pretty fresh, right, guys?
Yes,
correct.
sir.
Watched it last night.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I watched it Sunday.
Yeah,
When did you watch it?
Sunday night,
Ryan?
I think we watched it the same night.
Together?
Okay.
No, not together.
Okay.
You
No.
weren't invited, Brandon.
In spirit. So your initial, short review of this. I won't cut you off. I'll give you as many characters as
Bless
you
you.
need. Yeah, Ryan. What was your initial thought of Richard Jewell?
I enjoyed it. I think coming off of Jojo Rabbit, it was a bit of a downgrade. But obviously growing up here in Atlanta, knowing of that story, it was kind of cool to see that depicted on the screen.
Yeah.
And obviously it's kind of strikes you in a different way when you've got somewhat, not that I was there, but somewhat of a personal touch to that story. I think I had some issues with some pacing stuff here and there, where everything like things kind of came out of nowhere. But I mean, it was an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I think it's one of those movies. I mean, I had been looking forward to seeing it because, again, kind of being familiar with the story and with it being with also growing up in Atlanta. I just kidding, I didn't.
Did you though, Brandon?
Outskirts.
Nah, growing up around here, it was one of those things that I was like, that's also, it's a very, just kind of like the Eastbound and Down being in Myrtle Beach, like having those like, landmarks and having the, being familiar with all that stuff is always fun to see. Like seeing the 96 Rock sticker on the back of his truck in the movie. And,
Yeah, I said that to Katie when we were watching. I was like, throwback.
Right. But other than that, I mean, I like a lot of Clint Eastwood stuff, and I have come to appreciate Paul Walter Hauser a lot lately. Right, like I watched I, Tonya not too long ago. Really liked that. Liked him in it.
He was awesome in that. Yeah.
Loved him as the Juggalo in Always Sunny. Great, really great role for him. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. It's one of those things where it's like, it's a good watch. It's a good one watch. Obviously, Sam Rockwell, we just reviewed a movie with him in it last week. We seem to be doing some sort of Sam Rockwell binge right now, but
Quite by accident. Yeah.
Might have to rename the podcast if this keeps happening.
Yeah. I'll say
Sam
that that's
Rockwell
kind of where the
machine.
movie kind of kicked into high gear for me is when, after, the event, and he actually comes into the picture like full, they introduce him at the beginning, but when he's actually like
Sure.
a main player towards like kind of the middle of the movie is when it kind of started getting super interesting for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am not from Atlanta, but I do remember this being on the news in the background when I was a kid. I remember it being scary to know a bomb went off and shrapnel. I just remember hearing the word shrapnel a lot. Shrapnel and this, that, and the other, and so that's the only thing I really remembered: the Olympics, shrapnel, and bomb. Didn't really remember the whole. I mean, I remembered somebody being sought after, things of that nature. But overall, I thought the movie was very much so a Clint Eastwood movie, by the numbers. Thought it was a good movie. Didn't think it was great, but I did think that the performances were great, and that's one thing that Clint Eastwood constantly pretty much guarantees with his movies is you're going to get good performances. Now, Gran Torino being the exception to that rule. Yeah. But I would say more times than not, you're going to get great performances from his movies. And the facts seem to be there for the most part. Now, we'll get into some of the, outliers and things like that. But I think for the most part, they did stay pretty true to the actual story from my understanding of it after researching more after I watched the movie. One thing I want to say about Paul Walter Hauser is that he sounded just like
it's weird.
Richard Jewell.
Yep. It's weird.
Like, I'm talking about just like the man. When they did that, I don't remember if it was CNN or what news outlet it was, and they kind of faded out in the background, like just had it on in the background. And it was the real Richard Jewell.
Now, are we sure that it wasn't
could not
Paul Walter Hauser's like dialogue, like 80 yard on top of, like if we...
I am not, but at the same time, I watched one short little snippet, kind of like what's true, what's not true kind of thing about the movie. And they had one little snippet of his voice. It wasn't in great detail, but it was pretty spot on. I mean, the way he held himself, things of that nature. Only thing was Richard Jewell had a little bit longer hair. That's the only thing. It's like it's really great. And the mom, she played by Kathy Bates. She was pretty spot on too. I don't know about voice wise, but I mean the haircut, the look, everything. Yeah. So it was pretty spot on. So I like Clint Eastwood movies. I'm a big fan of his. I was a little reluctant to watch this. I wanted to see this when we first saw the trailer back when it was coming to theaters. But then as time went on and it was just kind of like people were just kind of cold on it. They weren't really excited about it.
Yeah, there wasn't much buzz around it after the release.
Yeah. But I mean, it was released close to Christmas, so I mean, I'm sure there were a ton of things coming out that people wanted to go see. But yeah, I kind of chilled on it myself, and then whenever it was time for us, we decided to watch this for the show. I just was kind of reluctant, and you guys had to kind of like, hey, let's watch this one. I was like, all right, whatever. I am glad I saw it. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of this movie. The performances. Was there any performance that stood out more than the others to you guys?
First off, I'll just say Kathy Bates is awesome in everything. I mean... Yeah,
she's pretty good.
She
was nominated.
So good at pulling
Wasn't
emotion.
she nominated for best... Was it supporting?
Best supporting actress thing.
I think she's kind of like nominated for everything she's in.
Yeah.
And pretty much.
Then like you said, Paul Walter Hauser was just spitting image of Richard Jewell. It actually reminded me of, I don't know if you guys have seen Mindhunter on Netflix. The Ed Kemper, the guy they got to play Ed Kemper. If you go look at YouTube videos, it's eerie how close the performance is.
I've yet to see that show, but
you should check it out.
I will have to.
It's really good.
But yeah, I personally thought, this is going to sound weird, but I thought, Sam Rockwell, how can you go wrong? again, I, Tanya, like Brandon said, I'll echo that. He stole that movie away from everybody.
Easy. Yeah.
He stole I, Tanya away from everybody. Paul Walter Hauser. Really liked Olivia Wilde in this. Don't see her in much. She used to be in a lot more stuff.
Wasn't she
John
like
Hamm
in Black Mass and got completely cut out of it? Like her character, I remember. Like they pretty much just.
I'm not sure.
I remember really liking that movie, but yeah,
you're the news guy.
That's not.
So I liked everybody, but the one that stood out to me as like somebody I had never seen before was Nina Arianda. She did a really good. She was the secretary.
Did you guys know until they kissed towards the end that they were like in a relationship, or was that like? Because did I miss something that her and Sam Rockwell's character?
They have little visual cues, yeah, but it wasn't like
I did
explicit.
not know.
I didn't know that moment was supposed to
I
be
did
the
not
reveal that they were actually like an item, but just curious.
Yeah, she's really good.
They had
And,
I think they had a moment where she was, I can't remember what she was doing, but it was kind of like one of those moments where they're like right next to each other and both kind of look at each other's lips and kind of keep going on.
I know the one. I know the moment.
She definitely dominated him. Like,
yeah, she was good. I liked her.
she dominated him. Yeah, she was
Say
really
dominated
good.
again.
I'm not gonna say she stole the show. What?
Nothing.
So
I love pregnant
yeah,
pauses.
No, I think that
They're great.
okay, good talk. No, I thought she was great. I didn't think she stole the show, but I did think that she stood out amongst a lot of giants, and she didn't eat the scenery. She did a really good job though, and I look forward to seeing her in other things, movies, shows, whatever the case may be. But she's from Manhattan, New York.
She looked very
so
familiar.
I don't
like
know
I'd
if she
seen
has
her in
any
something, but I'm not sure.
Brandon, are you from Manhattan?
Maybe I saw her in Manhattan.
You probably saw her up there.
Her credits are this Midnight in Paris, which I've seen, but I don't remember her in that. The show Goliath, Tower Heist, Billions, the show, Rob the Mob.
Could have been
Stan
like
and Ollie.
Master
Yeah,
of
so-
None. I've seen that, so maybe that's what I saw her in. I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know.
that's what it is. Brandon Florence Foster Jenkins. That sounds like a Brandon.
Yeah, she was good.
Movie. So yeah. But yeah, I thought she was good. But the one thing overall in this movie was it was funny. It was really funny to me for the heavy subject matter, and they really did a good job of mixing the tension and the laughter. For me personally, I put all that really on Sam Rockwell and Paul Walter Hauser. Man, that's a mouthful of a name. Like he's got to get like a J-Lo thing going on. So
Paul Wall
2.0. That's that's taken.
Paul Wall.
But yeah, no. I thought they really were funny, especially whenever the FBI came in and he was like, "Don't talk." And
yeah, you knew that wasn't gonna happen.
It was hilarious, and but no, I thought it was great, and then I really thought the like the whole setup of the movie. I liked all three acts of this movie. I thought that the setup of it was very tense, like where the person put the backpack down, and then the kids were over there throwing cans and stuff like that. And it's funny how you remember the story, you remember the history of it all, but then you're like, hang on, what happens next? You're still not sure what happens next. And I knew I knew the bomb was going to explode, but I couldn't remember if people died, how many people died, if people just got hurt, if they actually evacuated it. I couldn't remember that part of it. You know?
Katie thought the second bag was misdirection too when she was watching it.
So
This is a little unrelated, but
I found it.
did
very
you guys
compelling.
feel like the lip syncing and the music performances were off? Like the Kenny Rogers one.
I guess I didn't pay attention closely enough to.
It bugged me so bad when I was watching. It's like,
You are the musician of the group, so.
yeah, it just did. I don't know, something was off about it.
I find it. I mean, I found the Kenny Rogers part. I won't say jarring. It was kind of. It's kind of irksome, so to speak, because you could tell it wasn't Kenny Rogers, and I don't know. I thought they did as good a job as they could blurring it out in the back, and putting it out of focus. Yeah. But I don't know. I can see where you're coming from.
No, I mean, it's a
but
it's
I didn't get hung up on it. Yeah, but I didn't know I didn't remember who the band was that was playing, and I think they might have been a local band. I don't know
either.
But yeah, the one thing though is from the time that Kathy Bates was in the crowd for the Kenny Rogers concert, and then it was 3 days later or 2 days later, whichever, where they were at the concert where the bomb actually went off. And I know that he went home and had to go back to work and things of that nature, but I felt like it was too close. Like in my mind, it was still the same day for like a minute, and then I had to remember, is she in the crowd or not? And I was paying attention, but that was confusing to me. And then the way he was like, he called his mom, was like, a bomb went off. It's just like, so like, it's like but yeah, I mean, he was just so.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was almost like watching. Go ahead.
One thing that kind of wore on me was, and I know they were trying to hammer it home, but like I could have used a little bit more dialogue, like more creativity. He kept saying the same thing over and over. I'm in law enforcement, so like
I'm law enforcement.
I feel like it's like a drinking game. Like,
well, I thought I've kind of felt like I was watching. This is honestly what I thought when I was watching the movie. It felt like Forrest Gump goes to jail. That's what it felt like to me. Like, gosh, a bomb went off. Mama says, and then it's Kathy Bates, so I'm automatically thinking about Waterboy, and I'm like, Bob Boucher at the Centennial Park. So it just felt like, I don't know. So those things were playing around in my head, and that's my own fault. It's not anybody's fault because. But she has a Southern accent, and she had the Louisiana accent, and then I don't know. He was kind of just a dopey guy,
for sure.
And but anyway, I couldn't stop thinking about that, so I just I was thinking at any moment he's just gonna be waving like Forrest off that boat, like, hey, the bomb went off, and but yeah, everything he did was just numbskull moves. Yeah. Like taking the piece of the bench and putting it in his scrapbook.
I had there were also several little things where they tried to use them as like character development, but then I didn't think they got paid off real well. Like when he was, I guess, working the security job at the university or whatever, and he talked about like pulling the pad out and writing down all the important things. Like I thought like something was going to come into play with that, or
I think it was just kind of trying to show that he like is like super attentive.
Well, I know they're saying like detail oriented, but like it didn't really come across that way when he talked to.
Also, if you remember, I guess that was the dean or the president of that college. Mm-hmm. They were the ones that turned him. That basically.
For sure. Yeah.
Turned on the red flag, so I guess that needed to be in there. Maybe it was a little ham-fisted.
I think it was just the mechanism. I did think it was like one of those things where like you're watching a movie and you're just like, well, that's gonna come back into play somehow.
yeah, you could foreshadow easily. I mean,
Chekhov's gun. That's what they call it. This is a movie podcast.
Oh,
yeah. What are movies?
Thanks.
Did you guys know that Leo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill
Yeah.
were originally
I
attached
read
to
that
this
last
movie in
night.
like 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they stayed on as producers. I
play,
think
like-
David O. Russell
yeah.
maybe was supposed to direct it at one point. But yeah, it's interesting. I saw them in the
Boy,
credits as like
that'd have been a
producers.
much
I was like,
different movie.
Really?
Yes, it would've.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can tell.
That would have been a much different movie. You would have just had people yelling at each other the whole time. David O. Russell did it. It's just been everybody been angry at each other, and yeah, who was going to play
Well,
who?
I think you can.
Like,
You
Jonah
know who
Hill was
Jonah
gonna
Hill is going to play, right?
Yeah. He was. I think DiCaprio was going to play the lawyer.
Yeah, he's Sam Rockwell's part.
yeah, and that's Leo's go-to move for acting is just yell a lot. So it would have worked out.
We
with
know
David O.
you
Russell.
don't like Leo.
You
you leave him
I
alone.
don't like him. I just don't.
What does he ever do
He's
to
not a
you?
good actor. He's not a good actor. But anyway, I did think it was funny when they were like, "Do you have any guns in the house?" He was like, "Yeah."
This is Georgia.
Yeah.
It's Georgia. And I thought about, like Kennesaw. I think it's a law still. You have to own a gun. I don't think they enforce it, but I think it's actually in the
Yeah.
law out there. But he goes and he basically has an arsenal in his bedroom, and he's just got like all these guns laid out on his bed and everything. And then the mom, she's upset that
Yeah.
Bobby's upset that her Tupperware and her under things are being gone through and
Yeah.
things like that. So I thought that was real. But one character I think we do need to talk about is the reporter played by Olivia Wilde.
Do we?
Kathy. Yeah, let's get to this. Kathy Scruggs, was it Scruggs?
Yep.
Yeah. She I thought Olivia Wilde did a good job, but there was a lot of tension around her character when this came out. Now, the actual Kathy Scruggs had passed away, I think, at the age of 41.
It's like early 2000s, I think, when she.
Yeah, 2001,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, same with Richard Jewell. And they portrayed her as pretty much anything that she could do to get the story. And when I say anything,
Yeah,
anything.
pretty much anything evil
And-
about bad journalism.
Yeah, she was that trope
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, so but I think they Hollywood that up quite a bit for the movie. I'm sure they put the Hollywood spin on a lot of things in this movie.
Did any of
But-
y'all read the Vanity Fair article that this was based on, or piece that this was based on?
No, did you?
No, I'm curious if that's if that was consistent with that Vanity Fair piece, or if it was just something.
I did
that
read
they-
that like her brother said that she was like a very wild person as far as like
Yeah.
a lot of the things that they took from that, and they obviously kind of portray her as like kind of like I was saying, she'll do what she has to get
Sure.
the story, but yeah, I mean I get that. I mean I think with her being passed on is like a little bit of a it doesn't help their case in terms of the way they portrayed her. It would have been a lot easier if they hadn't have like used her real name, like because
Right.
the guy John Hamm character is like an amalgamation of like a bunch of different people apparently, and so he's not a real person from the FBI, but
Yeah, and also there were actually more lawyers involved than just Sam
Gotcha.
Rockwell. So after it was all said and done, with the FBI giving them the letter and things of that nature, they did go after the news.
AJC, yeah.
They did go after. Yeah, they went after the AJC. They went after the university and one other entity. I want to say it was one of the news outlets, like CNN or something. I can't remember. But and from my understanding, they won some of the cases at least. So I could be wrong, but from what I saw, that's what the case was. So
Even
But
with
I
this
did-
movie,
I
I think
did-
when this movie came out, I think that the AJC like sent a disclaimer that they wanted to put in the movie or in front of the movie, talking about how the characters were exaggerated for dramatic purpose, and I think they denied that.
Yeah, no, the AJC did come out and in I guess trying to hold up. It's hard for me to not be cynical about these types of things, but I have a hard time believing that they really cared about Kathy Scruggs. I have a feeling they were fighting for the AJC's name more than Kathy. But either way, they tried to show that she had heart close to the end. They really didn't pay that off enough for me.
Yeah.
Like
that.
I thought
I agree.
Something was going to come of that.
That was one of the other criticisms I had was that all you got was her crying in the back of the press conference. Really.
Yeah. I'm going to go out here and do everything I can to get this other story now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about this story anymore. That's kind of what. But you know, it'd have been nice if like, hey, if we're going to Hollywood stuff up, let's Hollywood it up and say that she put a retraction in, or so, you know what I mean? Like if we're gonna spin stuff,
right.
But or that she helped Sam Rockwell and
well, they had that
Miss
introduction to
Arianda.
each other in the car. Like it would have been cool to see that paid off.
Oh, that was hilarious. that was hilarious when he was like, "Get out of my car," and that was so well acted. But I think one of the weirdest things for me now is that the age that we're in, we're watching basically period pieces of stuff in the 90s now. And to see all the old cars and wherever they got that apartment complex, it looked like it was straight from the 90s. Like you said, the 96 rock sticker. I mean, they really did a lot of attention to detail. But the one thing I didn't understand, and this is such a nitpick, but John Hamm is an FBI agent, and he's riding around in a green SUV. That made no sense to me. Like, shouldn't you be riding around in a nondescript vehicle if you're, like, in the FBI or something?
Standard issue vehicles.
Yeah.
Well,
you had,
time,
like,
Al.
37 cars following it. Yeah.
I think it's pretty. I mean, it is an interesting time to tell a story like this, where you've got like this, big cancel culture type push, and people are very quick to judge, and just it's more of a guilty until proven innocent type mentality, and how this them putting this story out there pretty much just ruined him. It's like there's no coming back from that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super relevant, like you're saying. It's super relevant with what's going on. And heck, I mean, they said that he went on to be a policeman and things of that nature, died at the age of 44.
Mm-hmm.
I think 7 years later.
What's crazy?
After this.
Well, I was just going to say, whenever they had that scene at the end with him and Sam Rockwell's character coming in and him telling him that they called, Rudolph, I thought, because I knew that he had died, but I thought that this was going to be like a kind of like a, not necessarily an alternate history
sequel
type thing. I thought that it may have been like more of a fantasy. I mean, it would have made sense, but for a second, I thought that this was going to be a similar ending to the way Once Upon a Time in Hollywood ended, where it's like he was a cop and he found out that Eric Rudolph, he got that justice, but actually he didn't, because he died before. I didn't know that he actually lived for when they actually caught Rudolph. So
that was
and
the health stuff too was, for me, it was a little ham-fisted. Without,
I thought he was going
go ahead,
pass out during the thing.
Well, I know I thought he was. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you had that little blurb there at the end about his death, but it just wasn't really like, there wasn't really.
7 years later, he finally had a heart attack from holding his chest.
Right.
That
like
ham sandwich finally got to him.
Finally gets his name cleared and he chows down on that donut.
If only he had a pig valve. Yeah, no, it was so silly that, because it looked the way because I thought maybe the stress is getting to him, because stress can cause heart problems and things like that. So maybe I'm not being that I was young when this happened, I'm not remembering this. Maybe he did have a heart attack or at least pass out. I thought so what I thought was going to happen, he's going to pass out there while he's walking his dog.
Yeah.
I thought
in
in front of all the reporters
when he was out there. It's funny.
And and then has that to add, but it was, I don't know, it's neither here nor there. It was still good. It was just like I said, a paint by numbers type of movie for me. Was really nervous about a Clint Eastwood movie after I watched The Mule, because that movie,
I never saw it,
had no climax. It had no climax whatsoever. There was no climax. It was just a flat line of a movie.
Yeah.
Saw it with a buddy of mine. Shout out to Bobby. I saw it out in the theater, and
you can find Bobby here on Instagram.
Yeah.
Bobby Jewell?
So, yeah. Bobby Jewell, yeah, is the mom. I went to see the movie with the mom, and she was like, I hope he makes my son's movie.
Next year.
So, but no, it was just a flat line of a movie, so I cannot suggest The Mule. It made me think, man, he finally lost that magic touch that he has with the movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's one of those. It's like
movie.
It's a good one watcher. You know, once you've seen it, you've seen it. And there's not a reason. I mean, maybe you go back for the performances, but yeah. I mean, once you know how it plays out, there's not a lot of repeat value to it. But there's just a lot of movies that are like that. So
they're gonna start the Richard Jewell universe, and we're gonna have all sorts of
spoiler
from
alert.
1996.
Paul Blart Mall Cop 3. That's the sequel.
He did look like Paul Blart. Man, I don't know. I look forward to Mr. Hauser's movies for the future. The few things I've seen him in so far have been great. I think he's going to be in the Cruella movie.
Is he?
I think I read something about that too.
Oh yeah. He is.
He's
He's playing the little goons.
One of
the big one.
Yeah.
Who's the lead?
So
in
that
that
should
again?
be.
Emma Stone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Cruella DeVille S&M version. I don't know. It's like she's
So you know it's good.
It's like yeah. So but no, I don't know. I look forward to seeing him in as many things. I will say this: it made me want to rewatch I, Tonya.
Yeah,
that
one's been on the list for
that
me
movie
for a rewatch for a while now.
That movie, his comedy is so subtle, you know.
He's
in
real
this
dry
movie,
in that one, and it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and he's like I said earlier, he steals that movie, and you walk away like, what's that guy's name?
Right.
He's hilarious. So he's
in
really good. So,
Black Klansman.
Yeah,
and The
he
Five
is.
Bloods. I haven't seen either yet.
Yeah,
seen
he's
that,
in a bunch of them Spike Lee joints.
Now he's in a Clint Eastwood joint. He's on all the joints.
Man, he's also in Super Troopers 2. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate this movie. I appreciate Clint Eastwood, and if I can point anybody in any direction for Clint Eastwood movies, go watch Unforgiven tonight, tomorrow, whenever you get a chance. That movie is a piece of freaking art to me. I love that movie so much, and it is one of the movies that pays off the best. So
we should probably tell people where to watch this, which I don't know why they're at the end of this podcast and they haven't watched it yet, if they're going to, but
well, we did have some comments.
I guess they'll see it at the bottom
on YouTube anyway. Like, I guess I got to stop this and go watch.
Maybe we do need a pre-spoiler
so
little bumper before just to.
I think
like if you
said,
click the thing that's called Richard Jewell movie review.
That's true.
Yeah. So
be smart, people.
So yeah.
But yeah. It's on HBO Max. Go watch it.
Just.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like watching with your friends. After you watch it, you come and you listen to us. So, well, guys, I'm going to ask one more question of you guys. Ryan, is this a buy, a rent, skip for you? What is
it's
it?
a rent for me. like Brandon kind of said earlier, it's a good movie. It's worth a watch, but it's not something that I'm gonna sit down and repeat. Once you see it, you've seen it, kind of.
I'll just echo Ryan's echo, and I'll say rent.
Echo.
Rent it or stream it. If you have HBO Max, then it's there this month. So not worth a buy.
Yeah, I would definitely say stream it if you can. HBO Max, like we all did, or rent it. I wouldn't purchase this one myself unless you're just a Clint Eastwood completist, which you got a long ways to go.
Richard Jewell fan.
Yeah, if you're like a Richard Jewell enthusiast, this
would be a good mall cop.
Yeah.
Richard Jewell double feature, because they're both pretty funny. Well, I can't speak for Mall Cop. I know you like it, Al.
The first one, it had some moments. It was fun. I like Kevin James. Not that I liked King of Queens. That's about the extent of my Kevin James. And he's got a good YouTube channel. I will say that he's got a good.
He's got
YouTube
one of the
channel.
Ponderosas in it, right?
So
from Always Sunny.
Fish sticks.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So so I would say that. Now, that is our review of Richard Jewell, and this week we're gonna kind of do things different. We're gonna start something new, to where we bring up a pick from each one of us, and whenever we bring up the pick, then you guys get to go on Twitter and vote on what we watch for our next review.
Twitter, Instagram, that'll be on all the channels, and we'll aggregate everything.
There we go. So does anybody have a pick?
We're just going to throw one out each
now,
person?
the thing is, each person throws out their pick, and doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's new, old, weird, whatever. It's whatever the crowd, especially right now while the theaters are kind of lame.
I got one.
Go for it.
The Hunt. Did I just buy it last week? Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. What is it about? What's it about, Ryan?
Well, you got to watch it.
He doesn't know.
It's about some hunting.
That's right.
All right. So, Brandon,
I'm going to
what's
say
your
Palm
pick?
Springs. It's on Hulu. It's Andy Samberg. It's a comedy. And I've already seen it, but I want to watch it again. So I would encourage you guys to watch it if we do end up getting that one. It's good. I liked it. Al?
All right. I'm going to throw something out there. It is a little bit older, a couple years older, but I do think this movie is fantastic.
Is it in 4:3?
Is it Come in Black?
No. No, we just lost Ryan, though.
Ryan, you there?
His battery exhausted is what it says.
What does that even mean?
Means he got tired.
Wait, hold on.
Ryan, are you an Android?
Hold on 1 second.
Ryan's got to plug himself in. His battery is exhausted.
He is Cinemachine. He is. Well, while we're
I got it.
okay,
He's got it.
The movie I was going to say is I think it would be good to talk about Ingrid Goes West. It is a fantastic movie. I think that anybody listening to this of age should go watch that movie. But yeah, that's my pick. I've seen it quite a few times. I actually turned both of you guys onto it, and I know Brandon's seen it, but Ryan has not.
I have not, but I would like to.
Yeah, so it is a movie.
May not have purchased it this week.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yes. So that's my pick for the week. So go out and vote. Tell us what we have to watch. If you don't vote, then we'll just watch something arbitrary and that we all haven't seen before. So
sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to Cinemachine. Again, Ryan, you want to tell them everywhere they can find us? Make sure they get in touch with us?
Yeah. So again, if you want to see a link to all the places we are available for podcasts, it's cinemachinepod.com. And then we're on all the social channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and that's just at cinemachinepod.
Yeah. If you like superheroes, check out Cape Cast. Big weekend coming up.
Shout out.
Stay tuned for more later.
And if you like me and Brandon's face,
right, Al?
I'm not too keen on Al's.
I will not be there. So, no, I will not watch underwear men movies right now. So anyway, so make sure you go out, check out Cape Cast. It's these two guys talking about underwear movies, and then continue to check us out. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends. It helps us get out to everybody, and we want to make sure that we have a good time with everybody and make this into a service to bring movies that you may not have watched or thinking about watching but need that extra push. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week on Cinemachine.
Bye.